Good evening. Last video I was talking about Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Today I want to talk about Buddhist enlightenment and what happened beneath Bodhi tree. We all know Buddha, after leaving his house, he could not find answers either with his first guru Alaraklama or his second guru Udakaramaputra, because whatever they have suggested, he could find a kind of relief from suffering only for a shorter time, not permanent relief. So Buddha, exasperated, he found, he thought, he should get a right enlightenment, and then he goes to a place called Uruvela. Today it is called Bodhgaya. Under Bodhi tree, he sits and meditates, and one fine day he gets enlightenment. And that enlightenment, what he got on that specific day, can be divided into three phases. In the first phase, he got power to know about his own births and rebirths. Actually, these births and rebirths, he took birth of human beings, sometimes birth of animals like monkeys too, which is known as a Mahakapi Jataka. All these births and rebirths are known as Jataka stories in Buddhist literature. This is the first power he got. And the second phase, he got the power to interpret, opposite person, whoever comes to him, his karmas in lieu of their births and karmas in connect, and what are the solutions and what are their problems. All this power to interpret somebody's situation he got in the second phase. First phase, his births and rebirths, and that is Jataka stories. And second phase, he got the power to interpret the opposite person's status and issue and solution and answers to his problems. The third phase, he came across a wonderful enlightenment in Buddhist circles called as a Pratitya Samutpad. Pratitya Samutpad is called dependent origination. What is dependent origination? In this world, nothing is permanent. Nothing you can catch and hold and say this is the entity. Everything is kalpanakshaya. You can't define it because everything is changing. Buddha says everything has a previous cause, and that previous entity has another cause. This is called dependent origination. Everything has a cause, nothing is a permanent. Delving into this, Buddha has developed two kinds of methodologies at the same time, two kinds of definitions for entire Buddhism. First is called Four Noble Truths, and second is called Eightfold Path. If somebody wants to very quickly learn Buddhism, he can suffice to learn what is Four Noble Truths and what is Eightfold Path. Let me dwell on what is Four Noble Truths. The first noble truth is actually Dukkha Satya. Buddhas are all over, there is enormous suffering. So this is Dukkha Satya. And second, after observing the suffering, he wanted to see the cause, that is Samudaya Satya. There is suffering and there is also a cause. The cause Buddha deciphered is actually craving. So there is enormous dukkha and there is a cause is called craving, that is Samudaya Satya. Okay. Once he found out dukkha all over, and once he found out the cause which is craving, then he wanted to stop this. He wanted to know what is the methodology. So to stop this, that is called Nirodha Satya. Dukkha Satya, Samudaya Satya, Nirodha Satya. And then finally he wanted to stop how there should be a methodology, that is called Marga Satya. Okay. This is Four Noble Truths. Truths are very simple. Dukkha Satya, Samudaya Satya, Dukkha Satya and Marga Satya. Fine. In Marga Satya, he gives a foolproof, practical, pragmatic, which can be triable plan, which is not so in earlier denominations. People only talked about what is suffering, what is karma, and what is birth, but they could not say how to have a kind of answers to all this suffering. Buddha developed these answers as Ashtangika Marga. So that means eightfold path. So let us know eightfold path one by one. The first one is Samudaya Satya. These are all called Samudaya Satya. The first one is right vision. Samyaka Drishti, right vision. One should have right vision, Samyaka Drishti. Second is right intention, which is called Samyaka Sankalpa. Third one is right speech, which is called Samyaka Vacha. Fourth one is right action, that is Samyaka Karma. Okay. Fifth one is right livelihood, which is actually Samyaka Ajivika. Hmm? Sixth one is right effort, which is called Samyaka Vivahara. Seventh one is right mindfulness, Samyaka Drishti. Samyaka Drishti. And eighth one is Samyaka Samadhi, right? Concentration. This eightfold path, he has given practical solutions, practical methodology with which you can stop the suffering, then craving to make you, to become a slave to suffering. Actually, in every person, the main culprit is suffering and attachment. If you want to stop attachment, if you want stop to have suffering, the methodology Buddhist literature has given is called eightfold path. In all these eightfold path, later enumerated in three main baskets. Later, Buddhist saints have enumerated. They are called three: Vinaya Pitaka, which talks about Buddhist discipline, and then Sutta Pitaka, where it has sutras, almost 10,000 sutras you have, and final one is Abhidharma, which talks about Buddhist metaphysics. These three baskets contain enormous literature which has been developed into, today you have, one can easily say million books all over Buddhist monasteries talking about these three Pitakas. Okay, so this is about Buddhist two methodologies, two pillars. The first one we talk about, four noble truths, and second one is eightfold path. And later, the same entire literature was followed in initial 300 years, which was developed even today as a Theravada, the methodology of seniors, which they only follow the Buddhist actual teachings. Later, Mahayana, it got developed into different aspects. They have some notional Buddhas, in different worlds. They gave, stressed more on emptiness. They have developed into Mahayana, where they developed even alternative literature, which is, though they have heart as Buddhist principles, they have different practices. And finally, there was a Vajrayana came out recently, where they say you need not wait for many births to get enlightenment. If you practice certain methodologies, where they talk about tantra. This I would talk in my future lectures about what is tantrayana. So there are three yanas. Actually, entire Buddhist literature got developed into Theravada, that is ancient Buddhist practices which they practice. Actually, today if you go to Sri Lanka and Cambodia and Thailand, this all comes in Theravada. And if you go to China and if you go to Korea and all this, you have Mahayana, and Nepal and Tibet and all that, you have Vajrayana. So I think for today's lecture, I think I should end. But nevertheless, I would be touching a lot of aspects like this. So if you like my kind of explaining everything in a simple manner, and please forward this to your friends and give a like also. Thank you very much. Try to catch you in my other video. Bye bye.